Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Slammiversary 2022. I'm doing a review. I'm not going to joke with you. I was not in a good mood to even do this review. I've been going for a lot, man. Like I said, I don't want to state what's going on in my life. It's none of your business. Not that you're bad people or nothing, but it's not why you're here. But the only reason I'm mentioning it is because my enthusiasm was low when I was going into Slammiversary. It was. I cared about it, but I really wasn't thinking much of it. And after the last couple of days where there was something that happened, I really have not been interested. But I will say this. Was the Slammiversary good? Yes, it was. Did it have a couple of people you didn't expect to show up? Yeah. But do you expect more important people to show up? Yes, and that is a mistake. Mostly due to the fact that the people you would love to see in Impact Wrestling would have been Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and I'll get to him in a moment. It would have been good to have CM Punk show up. No. You didn't get a CM Punk. You didn't get a Samoa Joe. You did get, let me get to it. Kurt Angle did a video. He spoke. You saw him. AJ Styles, thank you. Let me give it to you like this. After what is going on with Vince, I'm not saying anything about Vince yet because the information still is coming out. I might do a brief Gump report about it. Maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. There's something I got to do tomorrow. But pretty much, Vince allowing AJ to speak. Good. It's one of the few things I'm going to give Vince for. Just this case. Because of what's going on right now where he had to step down as CEO. I'm only saying this, that they let AJ speak. Which was a good thing to see. I'm glad he did speak. If he had not, it might have made Slammiversary feel a lot less. Sting did talk. So Tony didn't have a problem with Sting saying anything. I kind of wish he had said something last year. Or at least showed up last year. But Sting wasn't there. He did do a video package. Well, a video. Not bad. So a lot of the people that should have been there were not there. They did videos. And the person that really needed to be there, like a Samoa Joe, was not there. But I will say the opening of the show, before we get to the match of Ultimate X, seeing Jeff Jarrett, the role of Jeff Jarrett in the very beginning, made sense. If no one didn't like to see Jeff Jarrett in the ring with the TNA banner when he was young, you stupid. I'm sorry. This is about Jeff Jarrett. This is about Jerry Jarrett. Sorry. They started the place. And they did do an homage to, I forgot his name, Ryder. Tom Ryder, I believe his name is. He passed away 2 years ago, I think 2020. He was one of the 3 people who was working on, well, they said they were vacationing and they came up with the concept of TNA. Tits and ass. Or total non-stop action as we know it. It was something that I appreciated. Since I never saw the beginnings of TNA. Guys, look. I've been reviewing wrestling now 10 years. This summer, this July, will be my 10th anniversary. I do not know what I'm going to do for that 10-year video. But my 10 years have been here. I've been doing wrestling reviews. But before that, I've been watching wrestling. And I never saw Impact Wrestling in the beginning. I never did. To be honest, I couldn't because I didn't have cable at one point. From 2003 until 2010, I had no cable. I couldn't afford it. In New York City, I could not afford it because I didn't have any money. I had a lot of bills. Child support and paying off debt. I couldn't do it. So only thing I had in 2008 was a DVD when I know this is about Impact Wrestling, but I think you should understand what this meant to me, seeing this. I was injured. It was before I finally found out I'm really messed up. I went to get therapy. and I found out there was a DVD place nearby where I was doing therapy. And I walked in, I saw a DVD set of Genesis 2006, around 2006, 2007, and that was when I saw Samoa Joe for the first time. For me, it was important because it's the first time I saw another company other than WCW and WWE and ECW. I never heard of Impact Wrestling. So I kept the set and I always watched it over and over again. I did get another set later, along with, I think I got another set later. And I got a whole bunch of DVDs from WWD and pretty much ECW and WCW. I got some stuff of it. But I got only one Impact or two Impact DVDs. I think I only got one. But I always watched it a little bit more than the others because I liked Samoa Joe. I loved Kurt Angle being there. I enjoyed watching the content they showed. So seeing this was important to me. And let's get into Ultimate X. I know this has been a long time talking. I'm so sorry. Ultimate X. Was the match good? We had a replacement for Jack Evans. It was Andrew Everett because Jack Evans was not cleared. We had Mike Bailey, who basically jobbed to Trey on Impact. We got Trey. We got Ace Austin. We have Alex Zane. And we did get Kenny King as well. Didn't expect Kenny to win. But I will say, Alex Zane looked interesting from New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was good to see a New Japan Pro Wrestling guy there due to the fact that Ace Austin is now part of Bullet Club. I want to see the interaction between Ace Austin and Chris Bay. I want to see how those two are going to react together. Or are they going to keep them separate? I don't know. But the match was good. But here was the thing. They did show Mike Bailey dealing with Ace Austin a couple of times. But I knew from the very beginning that this had to be about Mike Bailey. I was actually surprised to see Mike Bailey job a couple of nights before. Well, a couple of weeks before, because that was a tape that was done maybe a couple of weeks before Slammiversary was done. But in the end, after seeing a very good showing from Ace, from Mike, and then seeing a Super Canadian Destroyer. Who did that Super Canadian Destroyer? It was a Super Canadian Destroyer. Trey did it on Alex Zane. It was a I don't think I got the shot or anything. But if I do have the shot, I'll put it in my face. But when you saw it, it was like, damn. It's very rare someone do a Super Canadian Destroyer on Impact Wrestling. So we got to see it. And in the end, Mike Bailey won. And I'm going, okay. It was exactly what I thought eventually would happen. But I didn't think it would happen to Ultimate X. I would have thought that Ace Austin would have a match at Slammiversary against Mike Bailey. But instead, they made a homage of a whole bunch of people and not really focus on Mike Bailey directly. And then the couple of nights before, we get to see Mike Bailey do a great match with Trey, but then job to Trey. So what would you think? You would think Mike Bailey's not going to win. But then he does win. But then here's the problem. Since Trey was the person who has been interacting with Mike Bailey on and off, and that Ace Austin was in the Super J Cup, or was it, I think it was Super J Cup, or the Super Junior, it kind of felt like Mike Bailey was just floating. Even though he did have matches on the show whenever they did show him, he kind of floated because there was no Ace Austin. So even though this is a great thing to see Mike, it still felt empty. Because this wasn't about Mike versus Ace Austin. It was just Mike being in an Ultimate X match that didn't focus on him. Let's move on to the Knockouts Tag title match. The Influence versus a Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. Guys, you know I love me my Taya. She just showed up on NWA. She went over to Always Ready 2. Yeah, she went to Always Ready 2. I believe that's where she aired for the first time. And she did a great showing even though she didn't win. So, seeing her here and working with Rosemary instead of being by herself, at least at first, is not what I wanted. It's not about the match quality she'll do with Rosemary as a tag champ. It's that I wanted to see her by herself do the Reina de Reinas championship title run. But no, unless they're not going to let her do it any, like with Deonna Purrazzo, I don't know. Maybe she will. But I wanted to see her by herself, at least for a little while. Now she's working with Rosemary because they had an okay match. It wasn't a bad match. It was pretty good. I think you might have gotten a Madison Rayne broken nose because she was really holding her nose bad. She might have broken her nose or got a nosebleed. I didn't see any blood, but she might have hurt her nose. But in the end, Rosemary and Ty won. It wasn't a bad match. And now we got a question. What are they going to do with the women who are holding these titles? Are they going to do the Marsha Slamovich thing? And I didn't see the kickoff, so I'm sorry. I didn't see the kickoff. If Marsha was on the kickoff show, I did not see it. I forgot what time it was, and I wasn't watching. But are we going to get fresh meat for these women? Because you gave Marsha Slamovich, every place you went, a win over a local talent. What about Rosemary? What about Taya Valkyrie? Will they get fresh meat to go up again so it feels fresh? Because we rarely saw the Influence show their titles. We rarely seen them wrestle in tag titles. What we got with Inspiration was very sporadic work. So the question is going to be, are we going to see anything? I'm hoping, but you tell me. Do you believe this is going to happen? I'm kind of hoping, but I don't see it. I don't see them getting fresh meat. Let's move on. Next, the match I felt was the best match for me. First best match of the night. Moose versus I was hoping PCO and Jonah would have the Monsters Ball match. But since Jonah's not there, like I said, there was a good chance Jonah was not signed to Impact Wrestling. PCO seems to be working with Impact all the time. That means he must be signed. We got this. And I was not looking into this. I didn't know if this was going to be great or not. They said the next 24 hours you're going to see both these guys locked up in the dark and mad. And when you see this match, it was damn good. To me, this is the best match of the night. Not because it was so violent, but sorry, they do this a lot. They drag race in my area. It just was a damn good Monsters Ball match. This is the 55th Monster Ball. I think, when did it come out? 2003 or 2005? Monsters Ball was introduced. I think 2005 maybe. And it's the 55th version of it. This one, I really did enjoy. I did. Seeing that, how can I say this? You get Moose trying to spear a Sami Callihan, and you see Sami take the plastic garbage can and catches him. Was really nice. That was something you don't normally see. And it should be done more often. Who just runs at somebody, not try to grab a container if it was plastic, and lock them into it? Smart move. This was a very brutal match. The thumbtacks were done very well. We got three Cactus Jack. We got three Cactus Jack. I always mess up the Cactus Driver 97. Always say Cactus Jack Pile Driver, but it's the Cactus Pile Driver 97. We did three of them on Moose, and twice that was done on thumbtacks. And you could see Moose had a thumbtack stuck in his head. Hopefully he didn't crack his skull. If they were not that long, hopefully he'll be alright. Because remember, he's getting spiked on his head with tacks that can go straight into your skin, and the cranium might not be able to take that, and it could go. Let's just hope he's okay. But in the end, it was a damn good match. It was my personal favorite. I don't know about anybody else, but I did enjoy it. Now, this is where it gets sad. It does. Tag title match. Them boys of the Briscoes versus Good Brothers. I believe I got a shot at them in my face. Guys, I wondered how long the Briscoes were going to stay. Now, after they won the damn titles, they jobbed to the Good Brothers. That gives you several thoughts. Now, I'll talk about the match in a minute, but it gives you several thoughts. One, they don't have that many tag teams. No matter how much people say they do, they don't. Two, them boys might be gone. There's a good possibility they may be around for a couple of more tapings, but after this, they're done. They're done with Impact Wrestling until they decide to come back, if ever. And three, and the most important, why did you give the Good Brothers back the titles when you could have used somebody else? Here's the problem. So, was the match quality good? Yes, it was. The match quality was quite good. For the Good Brothers, you know, you can take them and leave them. They don't always flow very well with every team they go. But with them boys, it was pretty good. And in the end, we already know, like I said, the Good Brothers win. But then we get America's Most Wanted coming out. We get the Wildcat and we get James Storm. Now, they weren't coming out to fight. They weren't coming out to say we're going to challenge. They just came out and said, look, me and this man here started the damn thing for the tag division. We started it. And it's good to see after 20 years, people still love to do it. They love to fight, and they look like they love some beer. So, gives them some beers except for Wildcat Harris, because he can't drink. He's just going to drink water, and James Storm was joking around and say, hey, we got to have a designated driver. And for those people who thought, and he said it himself, people who thought that we weren't going to last a month, a week, or a year, we're here 20 years, well, you ain't getting what you want, and sorry for your damn luck. This is what you get from the America's Most Wanted. This is where I kind of hope. This is me. Seeing James Storm show up with Harris. I mean, Harris has been showing up more than a few times over the last few months. He's shown a couple of times. If Harris could still go in the ring, you know what? Bring back America's Most Wanted. Why not? What do you got to lose? They haven't been around for nearly a decade, easily. More than a decade. Bring back America's Most Wanted. Hell, call Jim Cornette and bring him back to manage them if you need to. Something different to give Impact Wrestling. That's just me, guys. Tell me below. Now, the 10-man tag, which had people from AEW, people from MLW, well, one person from MLW, one person from AEW, and one person from NWA. Kaz from AEW, I believe he's still working for them, even though he has the right to go wherever he wants. You got, and this is what pissed me off. Well, you know what? Wait, I'll hold off on that. NWA, you got Nick Aldis. I am glad to see Nick. And they did commend Billy Corgan for letting him show up, which is great. It shows that there is a good, I really hope that Impact Wrestling and NWA work together. I think both companies really need to work together at this point. I mean, NWA is fine. Impact Wrestling, so-so. They need work. But if you let them work together more often, we will get more crossover, and we need it. But the thing that pissed me off, was one person that showed up because we didn't know who was showing up as the third person. And it was important that person had to be someone important. Maybe Samoa Joe. That's what I thought. But it was Davey Richards. I believe I got to shut him. He's in my face. If I don't, sorry. But seeing Davey Richards made me happy. I've seen a couple of times of MLW. And I have been asked by at least one of my subscribers, dude, have you seen MLW this time? Have you seen Fusion? I've seen MLW, and I've been pissed off because the camera work is garbage, and the lighting is garbage. But I've never said nothing about the wrestling. Wrestling's fine. But when it comes to MLW, it's pissed my ass off. They just don't get it right. And seeing Davey Richards makes me so happy to see he finally came back into an Impact ring, but then pisses my ass off that he's back in an Impact ring, and they could have set this up a month ahead of time, that they finally knew a person who could truly screw up and piss off an Eddie Edwards, and that is Davey Richards, the Wolves partner, the American Wolves and the Wolves. Can you tell me that you would rather see a match where they could have set up a couple of weeks in advance or a month in advance that this special person that knew Eddie Edwards so well and knew how to fuck with him. Wouldn't it have been great that they built up into Davey Richards? Because the last time Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards had their moment is when Eddie was still a face, Davey was a heel, and his wife and him screwed over his wife and him. Wouldn't it have been great to see a full circle that now Davey is the good guy, Eddie's the bad guy, and you can get some closure, real closure? No, we get a 10-man tag. That was fine. I didn't hate the 10-man tag. I'm not fond of 10-man tags. I want to say this clearly. 8 and 10-man tags I'm not totally fond of because it's very hard to keep track of everything. And even though everyone does some great work, unless you're going to be doing a full shot like this, you will miss it all. And that's one of the things I don't like about 10 to 8-man tags because you can't always catch everything. But I will say, and this is something I am going to say about Impact right now. For this show, the lighting was good. The audio was good. And guess what? The camera work actually was quite good through the majority of the show. Yeah, they had a couple of moments where they kept doing this by accident. That even happened at the very last match of the night. But I can easily say, out of 100%, it had maybe 8 to 10%. And that is something you cannot take anything from them. As I've always said, if you screw up, I'm going to tell you. If you've done well, I'm going to tell you. And they did well when it came to the camera work. The faces won, but here's what gets interesting. We had Earl in the ring. Not just Brian, but Earl Hebner came in the ring. And you heard Scott D'Amore, who was on commentary, acting as the coach like in Team Canada, which I've never seen. So seeing the stick he was doing, I kind of hope he never does that again because he sounded totally annoying. I didn't like it. But maybe it's because I didn't watch Team Canada back in the day. So he might have been more fun or more annoying as a heel. I don't know. But you get Davey Richards' wife, who is his new wife because, as you know, Angelina Love is not his wife anymore. He gets a new wife who is Brooke. Terrell Brooke. I believe Brooke. I can't remember her first name. But pretty much his son, his wife were there, and she nails let me give it to you like this. Maria, I've never been 100% hating or liking. She's always somewhere in the middle. But seeing her ass get nailed, I did enjoy. Then you see Earl Hebner get into the ring due to the fact that his son gets nailed, but Earl shows up. And then who else showed up in there? Guys, it was a big smash. And it wasn't bad. You even saw D-Lo went and splash a Kenny King. Why only Kenny? Couldn't it splash anybody else but Kenny? But still, the faces win. Looked fine. I was not fond of the 10-man tag due to the fact that Davey Richards was there. They could have done a storyline a month ahead of time with Davey Richards. Nope. Or even 2 weeks. No. But still. Next, the Queen of the Mountain match. This is where I hoped there was some type of twist. Had to be a twist. There had to be a reason. It's got to feel like a Jeff Jarrett type of person being there. Here we go. We get Deonna Purrazzo. We got... I'm not going to say the match was bad because it was not. I knew these women were going to do well. It was not because they were all women. It was because I was worried there was not a Jeff Jarrett person, a female counterpart. But there was, to a certain extent, that was Mickie James as a special enforcer. Seeing that Chelsea Green did well, seeing that Deonna Purrazzo did well, seeing that Jordynne Grace I was kind of surprised about because she's won one. I was actually quite surprised. I didn't think they would choose her. But I will say this. The storyline that went with this was one. This just basically a straight up match where if you've never heard of the King of the Mountain match, I've seen it a couple of times. Everyone is ineligible until they get a pinfall submission. Once you're eligible, you try to take the title and hang it up, kind of like the reverse of a ladder match. Anyone who gets pinned, no matter if they're eligible or not, goes into a cage for 2 minutes. Now, the first ones that went to the cage will be Tasha Steelz went to the cage, and Chelsea Green was first to actually be eligible. Now, from that moment on, the match was pretty good. Sienna Evans, I kind of wish she wasn't there. I kind of liked it would have been a straight match without Sienna. Savannah, not Sienna. Savannah. But we did not get that. We pretty much got her helping out Tasha from one end to another until eventually she got stuck in a cage with Tasha Steelz because she did get her butt kicked. I don't remember if she became eligible. I don't think she ever did. I don't think she ever became eligible. So everyone else became eligible. Deonna Purrazzo became eligible. No. Was it? Yeah. I don't think she became... Purrazzo became eligible. Mia Yim became... Mia became eligible. Green became eligible. And Grace became eligible. I just don't think that Tasha did. I could be wrong, though. But I don't remember if Tasha did become eligible. But in the end, we got... Why Jordan Grace? I would have understood Mia Yim. That made the best sense next to Deonna Purrazzo. Either Mia Yim or Deonna Purrazzo. Chelsea, no. Because her husband is not there. He's got a bicep tear. He's out. It would make perfect sense if he was there. He could interfere in the match. He could help his woman win. And he would try his best to keep his digital media championship. And she would have the knockouts championship. There would be a power couple. That I do believe would have been the original thing that was going to happen. But due to the fact he had a tear, he had to drop the digital media championship to a Rich Swann. That makes the most sense. But seeing that it was Jordan Grace to win it, honestly, I don't think she should have won it. Even though it makes sense she won it. Because as it stands, she stated she wants to win every title in the company. And comparing her to that's Tessa Blanchard. She's a legitimate power wrestler. She has won accolades and state championships powerlifting. She's the only person I can believe that can go after the X Division and could try and go after the world title. Not saying she will win it, but she could do it because I could believe it because she has the actual accolades to back it up. Tessa never did, but Jordan did. And seeing that she won this makes sense, but storyline-wise, no, it doesn't. Because she has no reason to even be winning it because she's barely been on TV. Now, the next match. Final match. This is the one that a lot of people are not going to be happy. I know my subscribers, if there are any subscribers, who want to call this guy numbnuts. I know you ain't happy. Eric Young versus Josh Alexander for the Impact Heavyweight Championship. Was it a good match? Yes. It was the third best match for me personally. The second best match, I am going to say, was the Queen of the Mountain match. This is third. It is. Third best match across the entire card. There were 7 matches in the card. I believe I talked about them all. Did I forget anything? I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Let me see. 1, 2, I did talk about that. 3. Did I talk about this one? Yeah. That, there. Yep, I did. Let me put it to you like this. Was it a hard-hitting match? Yes. Did Josh look good while doing the match? Yes. Did Eric Young look great in the match? Yes. Did you want to see Diener in the match? No. Did you want to see Dorling in the match? No. And that's what major problems is. It makes sense why they had them there with Eric Young. But did you want them there? No, you'd rather have a straight up match. but it makes sense. They are violent by design. They have to all work together. But here's the thing. That even though it's the third best match of the night, I don't agree with the match. 100%. Because of several reasons. And it's not because of the match quality. The match quality was good. It was top notch. I have no problem with it. Storyline wise, it was screwed up. As I said in my last Impact review, why would you let Eric Young nail him now? Nail him now when you should have done it 2 weeks before. It would have made better sense to have him off TV, hurt, and then come in to the contract signing, hurt still, showing that he's not 100%, limping or holding his neck, and he gets his ass whooped again. Then it would make better sense for Eric Young. As it stands here, it was heavily telegraphed. And they tried very hard to make this hard on Josh Alexander. Having Joe attack him constantly. Having a Diener constantly attacking him. It made perfect sense to do that. So it was not a great situation. It wasn't. I don't agree with it. Then here's the second thing, and it was for me personally. Many people will hate Josh Alexander because they think he's damn boring, looking like something from the 1990s. I got that comment many, many months ago from at least either two subscribers or just two guys who just wanted to say it. One of them was the same person that said numbnuts. But here's the thing. I'm not happy that Josh won because at this point, who has he got next? No one. He needed to lose to have someone to go after. And after he said multiple times that Eric Young is one of the people who inspired him when he already became a wrestler, it would have been better if Eric had beaten him, even though he doesn't deserve to have a short title reign. It would have been better if he had, so he would have someone to go after. Because as it stands now, at this point, who does he go after? Or better yet, who goes after him? Moose again? No. It makes no sense. The only person left will be Sami. Sami Callihan's the only person left. And I just don't think at this point it would have been better if Eric Young had won. Honestly. Because at this point, the only person viable will be Sami Callihan. Even though probably Eric Young will attack him again. And they will drag this out for a couple of months, possibly. Because they don't have anybody else left for Josh Alexander to deal with. Because he's gone through the entire roster almost. Only person he has in is Eric Young. I mean, not Eric Young. Is Sami Callihan. So at this point, there's no one left. Except for one person that I don't believe the brass in the back who's doing creative is going to throw him at him right now. I still believe Eric Young is going to still deal with a Josh Alexander. And that's the problem. Josh should not have someone he just beat continue to go after him. He should lose and have to go after that title again. That's just me. And almost forgot. This was the last match for a Brian Hebner. Now the question is going to be, and this is for me personally, hearing that Tom and Matthew said, no, it was Tom. He said that this is literally the last match for Brian Hebner, who's been in the business for at least 15 to 18 years, I think, at this point. Easily. He's been in at least 15 years at this point. I don't think he's retiring. I could be wrong. He may be retiring. Or he's just leaving Impact Wrestling and going somewhere else. But they made it clear this was his last match. And next to getting pretty much powder in his face, and that was one of the ways they tried to get him to win. That's basic Eric Young. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at Josh Alexander, including having powder in Brian Hebner's eyes, including having the ring get cut open again, and they're pulling back on the mat, and he's getting spiked almost, and then you see Eric Young getting spiked. It's just, they threw everything. But it's Brian Hebner, who's now done with Impact. That is an end. He's been gone before and came back, but The question is going to be, is this permanent now? Is he retired? Or is he just going off? Maybe he's going to work in AEW or NWA. Or is he crazy enough to go back to WWE? I think he's been in WWE at least once. At least. Yeah, I think he's been in there. So, who knows? This is my Slammiversary 2022 review. Please give me a comment below. I don't know when I will be doing the Vince video. I'm going to see if I can do it tomorrow. But like I said, I have some stuff to do and I might forget. If it's later in the week, I'm sorry. I hope you'll enjoy when I do it. Peace.